The RNG gods have blessed me with this rather strange looking sidearm. So after running the Catalst quest and farming out a bunch of kills, I now have the Buried Bloodline in its best possible version. What this weapon provides and what its catalyst adds are all focused around providing void verbs on hits and kills. At base, downing 4 red bars or a single elite/champion will provide Devour for 10 seconds, as well as each hit restoring a small amount of health. The catalyst adds an additional benefit. While Devour is active, any hit with a Buried Bloodline will weaken the target by 15%, and while this does actually synergise pretty well with void builds, especially stuff like the Gear Falcon's Hunter, with each weaken hit enabling Stylish Executioner, I found the most success using this to bring the void verbs to different subclasses, those which could benefit from the restoration effects of Devour and have high damage to make the most out of a weaken effect. To nobody's surprise, this led me to Strand Titan. It works perfectly here, but what I'm about to describe can apply to any subclass of your choosing. In fact, those without quick access to healing, such as Stasis and Arc, will benefit even more. It's just that Strand Titan is kinda busted right now, so why not look to make it even better? And Devour is an incredibly strong effect. With only 4 red bar kills needed to activate it, you can have this going at any point. By default, you are given a maximum of 10 seconds, but each subsequent kill with any weapon or ability will add up to an extra of 5 seconds, making it very possible to carry a single Devour activation through an entire activity. And while it is active, any final blow will restore 100 HP and provide grenade energy. More energy returned the higher value enemies defeated. This ranges from 7% on red bars to 20% on elites. For Strand Titans, that means even more grapples. The Catalyst effective weaken also comes in huge for any class which doesn't have natural access to the ability. It's a single shot into a champion or boss with a Buried Bloodline, then go in with either heavy ammo or abilities. But I know what some people are going to say. Tractor Cannon comes in with a 30% weaken, compared to the Buried Bloodline which only provides a 15%. And yes, in some cases that will probably be what you want, but Buried Bloodline does have some benefits over the Tractor Cannon. It opens up the heavy slot to use whatever you want. Something with high burst damage, such as a Cataphract or Cold Comfort, are now viable. And this effect can be applied at range too. Oh, and it also enables double special to make a comeback. The generous ammo reserves of 62 and Devour's effect to help restore grenade energy means you can afford to take 2 special weapons into quite a lot of activities. I was getting quick and easy Legend Lost Sector clears using Buried Bloodline with a 1-2 punch shotgun alongside a rocket, and also had success with the same setup but with a Cataphract GL in the dungeon. You could even opt to use an LMG if you want a stronger ammo economy at the sacrifice of some burst damage. Any build with strong abilities and I want to get things done quickly, I'd highly recommend this double special approach, but there's nothing wrong with one primary alongside Buried Bloodline if you prefer. So that's where I've tried and had success with the Buried Bloodline so far. But where would I expect it to shine in the future, and for what builds? I think it's an exceptional choice for a solo player in more difficult content. Its effectiveness doesn't really fall off, still able to one-tap red bars in master content for that easy access to Devour. The weaken effect is huge too, extremely valuable if you wouldn't have access to a weaken effect otherwise. This season it has anti-barrier rounds as an option in the artifact, so that will give it another use in champion heavy activities. In Grandmasters that feature barriers, or even master sectors, it's a simple yet effective choice. The Buried Bloodline deletes barrier champion's shield in a single shot too, and while I have stated I really like how it can bring the benefits of Void to other subclasses, it does work well on Void too. It can kickstart the Devour loop if you have no abilities off cooldown, and giving it volatile rounds will only add to the damage and Void effects that Buried Bloodline can put out. In group content it can work, but I'd wager probably not quite as effectively. 4 final blows could be more difficult if you're fighting for kills with your teammates. And if you have a teammate on Tether or Tractor Cannon, the 15% debuff is irrelevant to their 30%. Though you could use it to extend the duration of that debuff if you do coordinate things right. And finally, some miscellaneous tips and tricks I didn't fit into a main weapon review, but are worth knowing. Once you have Devour procced, you could switch off a Buried Bloodline completely, to any weapon of choice, and as long as you keep getting final blows with any method, Devour will stay refreshed indefinitely. The Buried Bloodline has slight tracking. It's not anything insane, but it does make it consistent when firing from the hip, so long as you are somewhat lined up with the target. I found hip firing to be the best method of quickly landing final blows, unless you really want that crit damage, in which ADS would be a little better. Each shot from a Buried Bloodline is 2 bolts. This won't really matter a lot of times, but for on-hit effects, this will count as 2 hits. I see Buried Bloodline as a utility exotic, with the ability to deal moderate but effective damage against lower health targets. But if you want the damage, then Mechanier's Trick Sleeves would be the go-to. Pull out the Bloodline while at low health and it will deal 100% increased damage for a short duration. Kills in this time will extend that duration. And so that's the lot. This one is another which could actually be top tier. What it brings to some of the already great builds in the game makes it worthwhile to run. While not just being Goiner, this one deals big damage. Extremely versatile, even in harder content. Thank you for watching.